Hi, I'm Ralph Bass. I'm author of the book Back to the Future. Today I want to talk to you about methods of interpretation. Obviously your method of interpretation, how you approach the book, is going to influence your understanding of every part of it. There are four major methods of interpretation. The most popular is called the futurist approach. This approach views everything in the book of Revelation after chapter 4 as being yet in the future. And in that future, generally the futurist looks forward to a rapture, a tribulation, a second coming, a millennium, and then another coming. Often thereafter there are other elements that various futurists disagree amongst themselves with, but these are the major elements. Now, one of the problems with the futurist approach is that the current audience to which this book was written would have seen little relevance in that message. A message that says in 2 or 3 or 4,000 years the Lord will come, and in your tribulation today, be comforted by that. I don't know that they would have been. Another interpretive approach is called the idealist, or sometimes called the spiritualist approach, in which the author of these commentaries and this position view the incidents in the book of Revelation, the stories, as being stories of the triumph of good over evil, the battle of Satan, and the triumph eventually of the Church of Jesus Christ. And in these stories, of course, we are to be comforted. I'm not sure, again, that would have been much of a comfort to the first century church suffering tribulation, very real difficulties that it was facing, and to be told, I'm going to weave you some stories here of battle and Satan and evil and ultimate victory of Christ, and in these stories be comforted by what you hear. Another position is known as the historicist position. This is a position that believes that the 7 churches in the book of Revelation represent 7 church ages, and that the book of Revelation is played out during those 7 ages. This is a very popular position up through the Reformation. However, in recent years it's fallen out of favor, simply for the fact that every so many hundreds of years the outline has to be rewritten as to which periods are the churches. Well, in fact, there's not a very objective standard for that, and at some point people got tired of rewriting that history and just concluded this wasn't a very sound approach. The position I subscribe to, and I want to share with you, is called preterism. This position is based on the idea that most of what's in the book of Revelation up through chapter 19 is in our past. In fact, that's what the word preterist means, past, and that's a very good word to describe this position. So that the book of Revelation, to its immediate audience, was quite a comfort, because in that message we are told that I am coming soon, I'm standing at the door, and I'm coming quickly, and a multitude of other similar phrases. And the early church would have been comforted by the soon return of Jesus Christ in judgment. And that was a judgment coming. Obviously, it was not the final and ultimate coming, but that was not what the book was about. Frankly, it was about the judgment on Judaism, and that was to occur. And that 3.5-year period leading up to the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70 is what the book of Revelation is about. Not only did it have current relevance to its audience, which would have been quite important, but it has the benefit of having historical elements that can be checked against history. You can't check the future, so to speak, to know whether those positions are fairy tales or true, but you can check the past to say, now, you say that these events played out in history in a 3.5-year period leading up to AD 70. Let's check history, and that's what we will do. And we will see that the book of Revelation up through chapter 19 certainly was fulfilled at that time. I trust this will be an exciting and interesting study to you, and especially if you've never been introduced to preterism before, I think it will be fascinating. Thank you.